Thank you again for being here. Very, very excited. This is my very first time presenting at the mall. So really excited about it. So just to make sure we're all not confused, I'm here. My name is Dux. I'm going to talk about this idea of how you fast-track project management success with Project Online. But just to clarify and set the record straight, I'm not that guy. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not that guy. We share the same last name, but my style's much better, and you'll see that, all right? So, why are we here this evening? So, in the last couple of months, especially last February, Project Online became publicly available, and it's been a pleasure working with the technology. I asked earlier who uses Microsoft Project Online. Some of you raised your hand. But really, what I'm interested to show you and talk about in the next hour is this idea of fast-tracking success. Project management is always this academic stereotype, right? Oh, I'm not a project manager. I'm a PIMP. I'm not a PMP. You know what I'm saying? But it's always one of those things that we have to do, but we don't like to do because it takes too much time. It takes too much theory. We just want to get it done and get it done well. Well, we can, and I'll show you how. So, again, my name is Dux Raymond Tsai, Managing Partner Innovative E. We're out of DC and Atlanta, and I've been passionate about this subject. I've been working with this technology for a while. I've also been working with SharePoint for a while. I wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management. And for being here, everybody will get a copy. I'll make sure I'll give Bill a code you can use so you can download the book. And but yeah, in the last couple of years, just been focused on looking at how you use technologies like SharePoint Project and related technologies to better and improve your project management success. So to get a conversation going, does this look familiar in your world, in companies you're working with? Where everybody has varying project management maturity, right? And IT has their PMO, right? You got your 44 processes. You followed the PMBOK guide, input, tools, output. Remember? You forgot after the test, huh? But then people in marketing or sales who couldn't care less about project management, all they need is something to collaborate on. And then they can't wait for IT to give them something. We're going to use Dropbox. We're going to use Basecamp. And then management comes in, well, we want our reports, dashboards. By the way, that word will get you promoted, dashboard. When you see your boss say dashboard, instant promotion, right? It's true, right, Mark? So that's a reality we face. And this is big too. What's everybody working on? Don't you like every Tuesday morning, all the managers come together, oh, we got 40 developers, can we take on more work? What's the priority? What can we do and not do? I know we need 3 more FTEs, but I just don't know how to prove it. I got to trace my email and Excel file, yeah? You live in that world? A lot of us do. And unfortunately, the challenge is we rely on tools. And then there's one tool today that we can't live without, good or bad, but it's the most used project management tool. You know what it is? That's number 3. PMI actually did a survey a couple years ago, like, what's the number 1 tool project managers use? You know what the answer was? Outlook. Email. Outlook. Really? Where's that report? Let me check my email. Where's that status update? Let me check my email. For crying out loud, you got a Tesla store up there. Everybody has a new Surface. You have DVR at home because you got to record Dancing with the Stars. GPS in your car, you can't afford to get lost, but we use a 1973 freaking technology to run our projects. I mean, email wasn't built to do that. What's wrong, Dux? It works. Yeah, it works sometimes. But it could be better. And friends, what I want to talk about is the idea of making everyone happy is possible with Project Online and the suite of Microsoft tools and even non-Microsoft tools, which I'll show you in a second. Today, the complexity of project management is not just siloed into one group. Oh, project management? I don't deal with that. It's a project. No, everybody deals with project management. From the simple collaboration where, let's take marketing. Who works for Microsoft? All right? You do a lot of marketing stuff. You have vendors. A lot of you work with vendors. But how do you collaborate? IT, corporate IT won't give them logins. How do we work together? Email. Now you got Yammer, even better. But then what about folks in engineering where they do application lifecycle management? And the legal people that have to deal with compliance. And then Mr. Turner or Mr. Ballmer, he wants his dashboard. What's going on throughout the enterprise? It's so disparate. But Microsoft actually has the tools that can help you. And the beauty of this is for the people involved and people working, they can still go on and use the tools that they use and love. I'm not saying you get rid of email. I'm not saying you get rid of Excel. Actually, you can make it better. Right? And even non-Microsoft tools, which is brilliant. You know, whenever I do my presentation in Microsoft events or even here, people give me a hard time with using a Mac. I love my Mac. And that's the reality of the world we live in. We're in the BYOD world. I mean, the executives are the main culprit in corporate America. Every executive has an iPad. Right? Even if you say corporate America is a Microsoft shop, your executives, they love their iPads. Can you tell them not to have an iPad? No. So Microsoft Store, don't tell me I can bring my Mac in here. So what does Microsoft have for us? So obviously email, I'm not going to put in this picture, but depending on your needs and where you are in the project management maturity, there's something for you. So if it's just basic task management, you can certainly use SharePoint. Task list in SharePoint, I can show that to you in a second. If you need to work with other people, internal, external, you can use the collaborative capabilities in SharePoint. If you need more advanced scheduling, you can still use SharePoint coupled with Project Professional on the desktop, which has been there since 2010, and 2013 is just better. And then if you move on to higher level needs for your organization, for your enterprise, you can provide visibility and control using Project Server. And also around portfolio management needs, again, you can use Project Server. So we're looking at not only managing your organization-wide projects, but people, your demand, and also measure your drivers that you may have. Now, so what's the deal with Project Online? Project Online is the latest suite of product that's part of the Office 365 suite of technologies. It's essentially Project Server in the cloud. So if you're familiar with Project Server, you have Project Online. And it's a flexible solution. And the beauty of it is that it takes advantage of all the goodness of SharePoint. While Project Server 2010 already took advantage of SharePoint, 2013, it's tighter and has a deeper integration with SharePoint 2013. So not only can you have it on-premise in your environment, but you can also have Project Online, which is in the cloud, delivered via Office 365. And just like the Office 365 model, it's per user per month pricing, and later on we'll talk more about that. There's two different pricing models, but essentially you swipe your credit card, you can get started. You don't have to deal with setting up your Windows Server, SQL Server, setting up SharePoint Enterprise, hooking up your AVs, setting up Project Server. You swipe your credit card, 3 clicks, you're up and running. So, with that being said, while Project Online can address the need of setting up the infrastructure, who's used Project Server already? Good. And a lot of you may have encountered that one of the, at least initial hurdle is to get the server up. Well, Docs, do we include it in their SharePoint farm? Is it a separate farm? Those are the common conversations. So that has been addressed with Project Online. But then once you have your technology running, what do you do next, right? So I'm going to provide you 3 steps on how you can fast-track project management success. And it's really the concept around delivering project management on your terms. Because for me, especially today, I don't believe that it's a one-size-fits-all for everybody. And I'm going to show it to you through Project Online that depending on who you are, your project management needs, Project Online can provide a solution. So what are these 3 steps to fast-track project management success? So the first step is if you put together a project management solution like Project Online, is number 1, you have to have the ability for your people, for your team, to collaborate efficiently, to quickly get started on the same page. I mean, think about it. If you get started on a project, one of the first things you do, you may get started with building a schedule, but you want to get your team together, start talking, start the planning process. And really what's critical to make this work is you got to have a game plan. You know, we work with a lot of customers because as a core of our business, we help organizations take advantage of tools like SharePoint, Project Server, But one of the things we talk about is always, what's your project management process? Docs, we don't have time for that. We just want the tool. Tool is a tool, right? That's the easy part. Tell me how you run your projects, or at least what the process looks like. Okay, so when we have a project, a sponsor approves it, a PM is assigned, the PM builds a schedule in Project Pro, a team member gets assigned, yada, yada, yada. This is very important for a couple reasons. Number one, having a process helps you shape the solution so people can collaborate efficiently. Number two is, essentially, we've defined roles and responsibilities where, if you're a project manager, these are the things you'll be doing, right? And number three, we've just defined training for people. Why do I have to go to 4-day project training? Right? Yes, ma'am.
So is projects online?
Yes.
It's part of Office 365. It's a different SKU.
It's
right?
a different SKU, absolutely.
So can you leverage whatever your groups and permissions of SharePoint Online and Project Online?
Fantastic question. Her question, what's your name, ma'am?
Jan.
Jan? Jan's asking, if you already have SharePoint Online, Office 365, can you take advantage of all your existing users, permissions, all that good stuff, and just kind of turn on Project Online? The answer is yes. And I can step through that later on, but the answer is yes. Yeah? So you don't have to restart over, per se. Good. So once you have your process identified, you want to get started quickly. So how do you do this, right? So a lot of us, being project managers, we're used to Microsoft Project. You can fire up Project 2013 and start building your schedule. So let me show this to you. So I've got, so this is my Windows environment, and a couple of things quickly. So what I've got here, in fact, let me go to my Mac environment. So this is our intranet. It's on Office 365, SharePoint 2013. Just like any other intranet in organizations, we have different departments, our portal, blah, blah, blah. And then we have a section called Projects. So when I click on Projects, what it actually does, it takes me to Project Online. For those that are familiar with Project Server, this is also known as Project Web App. That's why you may see this terminology up here, Project Web App. But essentially, this is the homepage of Project Online. So this is all out of the box, what I'm showing you, other than on my company logo. But if you sign up for Project Online, this is the same thing you'll see. There's different ways for you to get started. You can get started on the browser with Project Web App and start creating your project site. So you can essentially start with a SharePoint site and start building your project. You can start with using Microsoft Project Professional, which I'll show you in a second. So there's a lot of different ways and different options to take advantage of this. So let me go back here and talk about how you can get started quickly. So I mentioned in the slide, if you're, let's say, so I fired up Microsoft Project 2013. This is Project 2013. And just like the previous versions, you got to go to Project 2013 and set up your account with Project Online. So there's an option in here, which I already did just to save time. Here's my Project Online address, here's my username and password, and connected to it. So when I fired that up, my local copy of Microsoft Project is connected to Project Online right now. Yeah? Absolutely. So her question, can you do the reverse? Can you start with Project Online and you realize I actually need Microsoft Project? You can do the reverse, and I'll show that to you in a second. So I went ahead and said, you know what? I have a project to build a presentation for MPUG, right? So I kind of got started. I said I need to, research a topic, develop the draft, review with the team, incorporate feedback, do the final review, and present. And then I have all my different estimates as well. And in fact, what I'm going to do next is I will go ahead and establish the dependencies. So I did that. So as soon as I established the dependencies, it gave me a rough schedule where if I started, I assume I'm going to start on Monday next week, the 13th. All this should be good to go by the 4th, which is great because the 4th, actually the 5th is my presentation. So I'm able to easily build my schedule. And one of the cool things with Project 2013 is it kept a lot of the great functionalities in 2010. So things like the timeline view. I can right-click on the timeline view and say add to timeline, or right-click on the task, add to timeline. And by doing that, it showed all these tasks in the timeline view. And later on, we'll see it also translate up to Project Online. Now, the next step I want to do is also add my resources. One of the great things with Project Online, we talked about resource management. So if I go back to Project Online, so other than being able to manage my project and look at the entire organization's project, one of the key capabilities of this platform is the ability to manage resources. So when I click on resources, it takes me to what's called the resource center, and it shows me people that I've loaded in there that who can potentially be a resource in a project in my organization. And you can do a lot of great things. So I can, for example, select Adam and Alex, and I can look at their availability on the browser. So from a resource manager perspective, from a reporting perspective, that's a great value. So when I clicked on it, it's thinking. So it's going to build a real-time report pulling up what Adam and Alex is doing on a given time frame. And the way I've set it up is a month between now and the coming month. So there you go. So and you can change the month range. It shows me Alex is working on a lot of stuff. So I can see Alex is working on all these projects, how much time's been allocated. So like, what's his capacity? Or his availability, minus 80 hours. So what that means is he has more work than he's supposed to be doing.
So that's only pulling from all the projects in your site, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, so it has the resource management capability, and the reason why I'm showing you that is going back to my storyline. So let's say, okay, I got this project. I need to start putting people in. Instead of just manually typing people, I can actually look up that resource pool, that database of people, and I can build my team from that. So I can go to my resource and say add resources, build team from enterprise. So it's going to go to Project Online, pull up that enterprise resource pool, and it's going to give me a screen here to say, okay, who do you want to use? So I can pick people, or I can run a filter. I can say, you know what? Show me only people that's available from May to June with this much time. Or show me only people with this skill set. Or show me only people that has this kind of billable rate. Everybody with me? Okay. So it's very powerful. And in fact, maybe early on at this point, you don't really know who specifically you're going to use. All you know is you need a .NET developer, senior tester, whatever. You can certainly put those based on skill set, and then you can replace them later on. So at least for this example, I'm going to pick Alex, and so I'm going to put Alex in there. And in fact, let's scroll down, bring this up a bit here. All right, I'm going to look for myself. Dogs, there you go. Yeah, the second entry is me, okay. So I'm just put Alex and myself. So now when I enter Alex and myself, so that means I'm going to use these two individuals as the resource for my project. And being a great delegator, I'm going to make Alex do all the work. All right.
So all these functionalities, are they available in the online version, or do you have to use
Can you be more specific, Jan?
So
What do you mean?
Right now you're doing all these
Uh-huh.
things that you're pulling resources.
Sure.
Can you do that in the online version?
Just on the browser?
Yeah.
Yes. You can do this thing on the browser. Now, there are some things you can't do on the browser, but as far as what I'm doing now, you can do the same thing directly on the browser.
Are there any limitations on the items that you see on browsers that are not Internet Explorer?
Absolutely not. And that's the power of 2013 technologies. So again, I'm using my Mac, Firefox. The compatibility, it's 99.99%. Meaning, doesn't matter what browser, what platform, mobile, whatever, it's cross-technology compatible, which is great. Because in the prior version, that was an issue. You have to have IE, especially with Project Server, right? And the datasheet view, the ActiveX stuff, and all that. Non-issue, yeah. Now, so with that, I kind of quickly set this up, and let me go ahead and save this guy, and let me go ahead and publish it. So now what we're working on here, friends, is, I'm the project manager, and I have Microsoft Project on my desktop. The beauty of this now is, as I built this schedule, I took the information, kind of put the assignments, and then published it. As soon as I published it, so let me go back to my Project Online environment. So I'm going to look at projects, and it's going to show me all the projects in my company. So I'm working on a lot of stuff, but I'm going to pull up the MPUG project I just created, and I've sorted this based on date. There you go. So when I click on the MPUG presentation project, so it shows me some key information about the project, and I can look at the schedule on the browser. And when I say I, the person who's allowed to, if you don't allow people to see this, they won't. So now, the same schedule I built using Microsoft Project is visible on the browser, in fact, on a non-Microsoft platform. Now, at the same time as it has published this schedule, the idea now is resources or your executives, they don't really have to have Microsoft Project Pro on the desktop. They can use their browsers to get to it. And not only they can view the content, they can actually interact with it. So part of what it creates this schedule on the browser, but it also creates what's called a project site. It's essentially a place where the team can collaborate, and this is where SharePoint comes in. So when I publish from Microsoft Project, I say save publish. It published it to Project Online. It created a schedule, but it also created this project site where now I can put in all my documents, which we'll talk about in a second. I can take advantage of all the goodness of what SharePoint 2013 has to offer.
Can you put the tasks from project into a task list in SharePoint?
Absolutely. So great question. Her question is, Dux, you built all the tasks, right? So now this is a SharePoint site. Are the tasks reflective? Absolutely. So look at that. All the same task is here.
And then you can do notifications.
Absolutely. She's asking, can you do notifications, alerts? Yeah, we can take advantage of workflows and all this. So here's the thing. For your next question, don't ask me if SharePoint Project Online can do it. Just ask me how, grasshoppers. Kidding aside, and that's, again, the beauty of this. So now it's all neatly tied together. And not only is it available in Project, not only is it available in SharePoint, if a task is assigned to me, which I'll talk about more in a second, with all the social capability, I can go to My Newsfeed, and Newsfeed is synonymous with the old My Site, where it aggregates everything about me, people I've interacted with, documents I'm working on, but even better, all the tasks that's assigned to me, regardless if it's my Outlook personal task, a project task, a SharePoint task, everything's rolled in to My Newsfeed.
So show me how it shows up in Outlook.
We'll get there. Now, so with that being said, I mean, I'm sure you've seen how you can quickly, easily get started, and you can take advantage of Project 2013 to start with that. Now, it's not limited to Project. With the time that we have, you can always start with SharePoint. You can always start on the browser. So whatever works for you on your terms to get your job done quicker, faster, sooner. Now, the other benefit of taking advantage of this is the idea of using familiar tools. And I think that's the power people don't take advantage of. So I'm going to go back to Jan's question. Well, Dux, show me that all the tasks show up. So here's the thing. So this is Outlook, and I'm going to my task list. Notice that automatically, other than my regular task, in Outlook you have your tasks, every project I'm involved in, or every SharePoint site or Project Online task that's assigned to me automatically shows up. I don't have to do anything. Okay?
Does it, so the MPUG?
So, no, because the MPUG, I didn't assign anything to me. I'm Dux. Because I'm a great delegator, I assign everything to Alex. So if Alex opens his Outlook, it'll show up, right? So
he doesn't need to connect to Outlook?
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't even have to hit the button, connect to Outlook. Back in the day, you have to connect to Outlook. No, that's till 2010. Now, so it just shows up. It shows up. So, for example, I'll show you this example. So I'm going to my executive presentation project. I bought the supplies. I talked to the customer. So let's say that's done, right? And let me go to that project just to show you. So let me go to that executive presentation project, which I'm a part of. There you go, gang. All right, executive presentation project. And so as it's pulling it up, I actually have tasks assigned to me there. So as I tick those boxes, you'll see in the task list, those tasks have been checked off, completed. So if I go to my task, and What did I check? Maybe it hasn't synced. I think I checked buy supplies and something. So let's give it a second, but once it syncs, it'll be ticked off. The same way, if I wanted to update it using my newsfeed and update my task there, and that's, quite possible as well. And not only that, with your phone, you guys have Windows Phone, I hope? At least I have a Windows Phone. I can check my tasks off there as well. Then it's going to be reflecting everything. So that's a part of the 2013 suite of products. Now, let me show you a couple of things. So talking about familiar tools, right? One of the great advances I love about Project Online in SharePoint 2013 is the ease of use. I mean, some people don't think it's a big deal. So here's a simple example. So let me go to my, I got started this project, and let me go to my templates, because every project, I got all these project templates. So I'm in my Mac. This is the Finder. This is kind of like Windows Explorer. So I got all these templates for my project. Check this out. I'm going to drag and drop it to my document library as a way to upload. And that's it. It's just uploaded it, right? I'm doing it on my Mac. Right? So I think from a user experience perspective, this is very powerful, ease of use. And then another scenario is, in fact, let me give you a scenario I encountered with one of my customers. It's actually a few years ago. So this customer, they've got SharePoint, they've got it for a couple years, and it's nothing but a big file dump. You've never heard that before, right? Just use a big file share. And they're like, Docs, we want to take advantage of it more, talk to us, help us figure this out. So one of the first use cases we came up with is to use it for project management. Because at any point in time, they have 100 projects they're working on, and they use email and Excel network share to address that. So I said, okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up your environment so people can use SharePoint for project management. And don't forget, buy that book. I'll make 80 cents a copy. And the idea is you'll have this one-stop shop where you'll have your tasks, your documents, everything will be there, which is great. Now, one of the things we found out, at the end of the month, every project manager has to send an expense report to somebody in accounting for what they spent for the project. And so I talked to this individual, let's call her Miss Sally. I said, Miss Sally, how much time do you spend doing this? He said, in a given month, I spend about 6 hours taking all these project expenses from my email, putting together a single report. Does that sound familiar? I said, Miss Sally, what if I can help you cut that 6 hours down to 4 hours? Would you be interested? She goes, yes, but. I go, but what? If I could do it in Excel, that's all I need. I don't want to learn anything new. I'm retiring in 2 years. Now you know Miss Sally. I go, Miss Sally, great news. You see, I'm not even going to show you anything new. I'm going to show you Excel. There's something in Excel you can do that will automatically cut down this whole expense processing. She goes, really? What are you talking about? So here's the deal, Miss Sally. What I'm going to show you and teach you is instead of project managers emailing you all these expenses, I'm going to have them put their expenses directly on their project site. And as soon as they put it in their project site, it's going to automatically show up on an Excel file sitting on your desktop. No more email. None of that email, dragging the file, forget that. She goes, really? I go, yeah. So check this out. So let's say you have an Excel file. I'm going to put item, cost. So let's say we bought some chairs for the project, $800. We bought we bought a projector, $400. And then let's make sure this column is correct. All right. Let's make sure this is the right formatting here, currency, okay? Okay, so let's say this is for the MPUG project, okay? And so far, this is what we bought. So here's what we're going to do, Miss Sally. We're going to take that information and convert it to what's called an Excel table. As soon as I do that, right, one of the neat things that you can take advantage of is a feature that allows Excel to synchronize with SharePoint. It's a feature that's not new. It's actually a 10-year-old feature. It's been there since Excel 03. In Excel 03, it's out of the box, but in 2007, 2010, if there's a plugin you can put in there, and in fact, I'm going to do it. I downloaded that plugin earlier, and I'm going to go to add-ins, and as soon as I do that, gang, I'm going to go to Excel add-ins. I'll just say, browse. By the way, this whole session's being recorded, so part of what I'll send is the PowerPoint, the video, and all the links to the like these add-ons. So we go to my add-on. So here's a add-on here, gang. So I'm gonna just add the add-on. So as soon as I do that, publish and allow sync. It just popped up. So what I can do next, friends, is I can put the information in, and what I just entered is the project site. So the MPUG presentation project site on Project Online. All right, and then I'll call this expenses. Okay, and then I'll just hit publish. So as soon as I do this, it will take this Excel information, log me into that project site, make sure I can do what I'm trying to do here, create what's called a custom list. It'll call it expenses, and then keep the connection between this Excel file sitting on the computer and that custom list. So once it's done, let's open this up. Let's see, view it. So as soon as I view it, in fact, let me go back to my Mac environment. Let's view it here. I'm going to leave that open in my Windows environment. So notice in the MPUG presentation project site, I got these expenses. Same thing as the Excel sheet. So now the project manager could just go to the project site and just put in what they, what they bought for the project. So let's say they bought a car for the project. So there's a Tesla store up there. Actually, it's more money than 50,000. It's 100,000. 50 is just a deposit. And if you just realize what I did here, I'm in Firefox on my Mac in the datasheet view is there. If you don't recall, in 2010, while it's kind of sort of cross-browser compatible, you can't do datasheet view outside of IE. It's here, right? HTML5, jQuery, yes, Jim.
So would it be better if you use the SharePoint list and put it in I could open it in Excel?
Yeah, very good question. Her point is...
You get the versioning history and who created it.
Very good question. Her point is, why did you start with a custom list or a list in SharePoint open in Excel? Remember, Miss Sally doesn't want to use anything else.
Yeah, but you can start it and then just give her Excel.
Absolutely.
That way you track that versioning.
Sure, and you can certainly do that. Because here, you made a great point. I can certainly turn on versioning and all that. It'll still work, right? But here's my story. Once I entered this information, let me go back to my Windows environment. So now I entered the information on the project site, synchronize it with SharePoint. So that information on the project site is now available, and this Excel will be available. There you go, card. See that?
Can you pull additional fields from?
The question is how.
How? How?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
She's so excited. Are you Filipino? I'm Filipino. No, absolutely. Right? The question is just how. That's the power of SharePoint and Project Online and Excel. It's on my terms. I don't care about anything else but Excel. Good for you. Use Excel, right? And now Miss Sally's reviewing the invoices and receipts. She goes, "Oh, you didn't buy a car. You bought carpet, and it's $1,000." So Miss Sally can take this information and push it back to that project site in the comfort of Excel. And the project managers with alerting and workflow and have you, newsfeed, they'll be notified, hey, but I mean, the things just got updated. Let me hit refresh. I don't think I hit refresh correctly, okay? And you see from car, it's now carpet with $1,000 as the actual expense. Now, let's go back to the point I'm trying to make here. The power of this platform, it's not because it's in the cloud, it's online, but it's the whole story, right? It's being able to fast track success, because success for me is to be able to get the information directly in Excel, not to deal with email. That's Miss Sally's success, which is good. Bless her heart. By the way, I used to live in Atlanta. When I moved there from Manila, I thought bless your heart is a good thing. A few weeks later, I found out it's an excuse to be mean. Bless his heart, that kid's ugly. And it's okay. No, but it's powerful. Carpet 1000. So let me finish my story then. So I showed her this, and then I go, so now in theory you can connect it to the 99 other sites, and you can have like 100 first sheet with a summary and build your pivot tables and charts. Now you have your report. 2 months later, and this is a real story, I talked to her and says, you're right, I saved 2 hours. just by not dealing with pulling Excel files from email, putting my desktop, putting together a report. And she's happy. I didn't force her the S word. Use Excel, right? And that's a value the platform provides. And I asked her, and she even said, you know what, Dux, I didn't even spend overtime this month just to put this report together. Now, you talk about values. Miss Sally saved 2 hours personally, but the company doesn't have to pay her overtime, right? It's those little wins that's so powerful. So what do you do now with the 2 hours you save, Miss Sally? I learned how to use Facebook. Okay, so what I'm trying to point out here is, while Project Online, Project SharePoint is a great tool, do not discount tools people use today. The killer apps in the enterprise today is not SharePoint. It's not your fancy Project Online. Killer apps is email and Excel. That's it. People can live without that, and it's great. Use that as an entry point for adoption, right? And the other point I want to make is, we live in the mobile world, and it's just nature of what we do now. The beauty of Project Online being on the SharePoint platform, it's mobile-friendly, mobile-enabled. So let me show you another use case. So in SharePoint 2013, every site comes with what's called a site notebook. Essentially, it's OneNote. Anybody use OneNote? I love OneNote. All right, good. OneNote is a brilliant product. And every site now has a OneNote notebook. So like this one, the MPUG presentation, I have a OneNote notebook. Again, that same notebook can be accessed if you have OneNote client. You can access that directly on OneNote. So all that's the same, right? So what's the scenario here? So one of the things with this customer I was talking about is their projects involve physical construction of shops. And what they do is they monitor the status of these construction. They actually take pictures and sometimes videos if the beam is not good. So they take videos, they kind of talk through, look at that beam, it's not good. And then they need to send this information back to corporate. In some cases, email works. Picture, it's fine. But with videos, it just doesn't. So they end up having to either FTP it or sometimes even FedEx videos. Well, I said, well, you've got OneNote, and you can put OneNote on the on your SharePoint site. Why not use OneNote to capture this multimedia information? He goes, what are you talking about, Dux? So for example, and you don't even have to have a Windows phone, it could be any mobile device. They have an iPad that they use. So I said, all right. So I got my phone here, and I'm going to access this SharePoint site on Project Online and access this OneNote notebook, which is the same thing, right? Bill, can you help me here, Bill? So let's say I need proof that I came here, so I'm going to have Bill take a photo of me and everyone directly onto this OneNote notebook. Okay, here we go. All right. You got to smile. I'm going to tag you on Facebook. Yeah. Got it?
I can do it.
All right. Did you hit accept?
Did I do it?
No. You got to hit the middle.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
You work for Microsoft?
Yeah, it's the other way around. No, it's pointing at me.
All right. Oh, is it?
Oh, hold on.
All right. Good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, go.
You sure he's the MPUG
Yeah,
president?
that's that.
Good.
There.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Let's give Bill a big hand. All right. So I just took it's here. And it says, okay, saving, syncing. So give it a second, right? So what's the power here? So when we talk about mobile, it's not just looking at, you can access your reports, your schedule, your newsfeed, all that good stuff. But actually being able to take multimedia content, photos, videos. I use OneNote a lot when I go to requirements meeting because I record, I tell people, but I record the conversations. And you can make it as a part of your project site. So let's check this out. Let me hit refresh. It takes a few seconds to refresh, but I can force refresh. Let's make sure, okay?
What's the file size?
The file size, it depends, but this is very lightweight. Is it still? Yeah, it's still syncing. It's trying to get on the internet. But again, it varies. And even if you don't have to wait for it to email upload, because behind the scenes, it'll continue to sync and connect and all that good stuff.
I mean, SharePoint itself, SharePoint Online, you're going to get.
Very good question. What's the file size limitation of SharePoint Online? It varies. Mark, out of the box, what's per site? Is it 50 meg per document library or per file? Okay. but it's still adjustable. And typically in a lot of these scenarios, unless you're putting in like CAD files or like big files, it shouldn't be an issue, right? So we'll get back to this in a second, and you know, as long as this, oh yeah, okay, it's doing it. So that's the first step. To fast track project management success, you have to have the ability for people to collaborate efficiently. And certainly, as you've seen, Project Online, the Microsoft suite of tools, allows you to do it. The second point is you have to have the ability to manage effectively. And when we talk about management, it's the idea of being able to work proactively. And you know, we track a lot of different things, from schedule to financial related data to demand to resources. So I kind of showed you some of these things already, but let me go back up. There you go. You see that? It's actually on there too, right? So if you've got alerts turned on, all that stuff would just alert the right people. Versioning turned on, you can capture all this stuff. And this is nothing new. It's been there since 2010. The Excel synchronization, who didn't know about that? It's okay, I'll tell on you. It's been there since 2003 Excel and 2003 SharePoint. It's a 10-year-old technology. You talk about power to the people. You feel the love? All right.
Project synchronization was
A very good point. Project synchronization and SharePoint are on the tasking. It's been there since 2010, not 2007. Yeah, that's a great question and great point. So let's talk about tracking here. So earlier I showed you kind of quick scenarios on tracking. So let me go back and let's go to PWA, and let's go back to that MPUG project. In fact, it's right here, MPUG presentation. So one of the nice things with Project Online in SharePoint 2013, you know, we're in organizations where not really everybody would need to get to Project Online. To some people, that's just too much. Jan was asking earlier, can people just update their task in SharePoint? And the answer is yes. The beauty of this is, again, from a management perspective, if your users, they're comfortable with SharePoint and really all they need is this stuff, yeah, go for it. They can update their tasks directly here. Oh, there you go. And it's specific to them. They can go to their Outlook, their newsfeed, and update their tasks there too. So going back to Project Online, so this is the same project, we can, since I have the file open, it says, you know, this thing's checked out to you. But not only can I update the task directly on the browser, one second, I scrolled it too much. But I can update it as well in Microsoft Project. So if I decide, let me go to my, the right table here. All right, give me a second. There you go. Tracking Gantt view. There you go. So I can go to my tracking Gantt view and start updating some of the tasks here. So again, you can update it however you want. If you update it based on percentage or based on actual hours or actual work. So let's go to tracking, for example. So I can put when you actually started, when you actually finished. So if you're comfortable using Microsoft Project on the desktop, you could do that. You could use Outlook. You could use your newsfeed. So there's a lot of choices that this thing offers you. So quickly, I'm going to just pop task updates of 100% just to make it quick. And let me hit save, and I can publish this. So all the relevant information will flow through Project Online. If it's assigned to somebody in their Outlook task, it'll be 100% complete, all that good stuff. So it's fluid that way. The other aspect is visualizing business intelligence. And again, dashboarding, reporting is big. And with Project Online, especially now, it's full cross-platform, cross-technology compatible. You can take advantage of all of the reporting capabilities. So I've got some reports here quickly. So I put together a quick report using Excel. So gang, let me go to my reports. And I put together a simple report around all the projects. So project overview. I believe this is what I did, okay? So what I just did is I opened an Excel file. I kind of quickly built the report in Excel. And with Excel services, Excel web app, that Excel file will be rendered in my browser. And the kind of report I did, let me hit refresh here. is a new reporting feature called Power View. It's not loaded. Let me bring it up in IE. I think my Firefox is not as updated with all my plugins. Give me a second here. Pop this thing up. There you go. Okay, it's loading. So it's loading, and so there you go. It's loading, and what I'm going to show you for this report, it's going to show all the project, but it's going to visualize it using this technology called Power View. And what Power View is, quickly just to explain, it's a way you can provide reporting in an animated format. For example, have you guys seen movies like some guy's reporting to the president? Mr. President, the epidemic started here. In 24 hours, it's going to grow. In 6 months, it's going to grow like this. Have you seen those kind of? So that's kind of what Power View can do. You can do forecasting, slicing, and dicing in a visual kind of way. So, for example, this one, it shows all the projects I have in the organization. So I got to step through it, show all that good stuff. But I can filter this too to all the projects I have. So let's look at the APAC marketing project and then the ERP upgrade project. So I can compare it side by side and do any analysis, how much work was assigned, how much actual work was done, all that good stuff. And this is all Excel, and I built in Excel and put the Excel file directly pretty much in a document library. And certainly there's other options around reporting that you can take advantage of. You can look at resourcing, you can look at all your organizational drivers, even build your own corporate dashboards. Now, talking about reporting, well, what I'm going to show you is some real-world dashboarding examples. While they're not 2013, but certainly you can do this in 2013. So this is the Virginia Department of Transportation and the state of Virginia, and this is powered by SharePoint. Look at this. So we talk about reporting and dashboarding, right? They use third-party web parts, but the beauty of this is it pulls a lot of different key performance indicators, and they even have a project metric here where you can click and drill down to see how they're doing in their projects. I'm pretty sure that somebody got promoted by building this dashboard. Ticket to promotion. All right. So a lot of great and powerful stuff that allows you to manage effectively. And again, one of the great things of Project Online, the suite of technologies, is today it's not just reporting, it's not just communication, but really the whole collaborative aspect. And there's no tool out there that provides all this other than the Microsoft stack of tools. The third step to fast-track project management success is the ability for us to win consistently. You can build enthusiasm over time, and you can really grow based on what your needs are, and depending on who they are in the organization. Now the question becomes, what does winning look like, all right? Hopefully it doesn't look like that guy, but winning varies. And the promise of Project Online is you can grow with it. If all you need is collaboration with SharePoint, fine, that's okay. Stay there, right? But if your needs accelerate and grow to, I need more reporting, I need more resource management, demand management, certainly Project Online can support you and provide you those capabilities. The other nice thing or new feature in Project Online is this idea of visibility mode. Anybody familiar with this? Okay, so kind of let me explain what this is. The beauty with visibility mode, in the previous version, Project Server 2010, while it's great, it's kind of disconnected from SharePoint. You've got people in your company where they use SharePoint for basic project management, collaboration, and then you got people using Project Server, but those data are disconnected. Y'all with me? Well, those days are gone, because with Project Online, Project 2013, SharePoint 2013, you can actually have people just work in SharePoint, none of the Project Pro, none of the publishing, none of that, just stay in SharePoint, but you can make that SharePoint site and those tasks visible in PWA. So for example, if I go up to, let me go back to Project Online here, I can actually, I'm going to go to projects. What I'm seeing here is actually a mix of projects published directly to Project Online, and some of these are just regular SharePoint sites. because I can actually do this. I can say, you know what? Add SharePoint sites to this listing. So people can just work in SharePoint, and then the schedule will still be surfaced globally, at least at a portfolio view, which is powerful. So it's all the SharePoint sites there is. So it'll show the Tokyo dev project and training product project, and all of those are nothing but SharePoint sites. So they've added it, and so let's go to the Tokyo. Where's my? Oh. Scroll back up here in a second. Do you see it? Okay. Yeah. I change it alphabetically now. But I'm going to go to that Tokyo. There you go. The Tokyo Dev Project. And notice when I click on it, it's surfaced up. You have the choice. You can actually have it converted to a similar view. I keep clicking this stuff, but essentially you can have just a regular SharePoint site get surfaced in Project Web App, which is very powerful. The other benefit you can take advantage of is obviously the whole app model. One of the things with apps is, you can take advantage of all the apps that's in the App Store, the Office Store. So if you go to the SharePoint App Store, there's apps not only for SharePoint, but for Project Online as well. And then another thing that's available too, it's not just those two app stores, but certainly like Windows Store. We just released our Windows app for Project Server, where you can go to the Windows Store, especially with touch devices. You can pull up Project Online and Project Server. You can look up, manage your tasks, and in the future, the ability to look up dashboards on your Surface or Windows 8 devices, and then the phone as well. So there's a lot of options. And then last but not the least is the idea of line of business integration, both coming out of Project Online and going into Project Online as well. So you talk about flexibility and being able to grow with it. Project Online allows you to do this. So again, hopefully you found a lot of good insights to this session to fast-track project management success. Think about the platform being able to allow you to collaborate efficiently, manage effectively, and win consistently. And there's nothing out there, at least from what I've seen, that Project Online provides. This is just an example. It's using Project Server previous version, but it really goes to show how the stack of technologies can support needs of organization. This is an example for US EPA. There's actually 2 Project Online case studies out there you can look at. And if you're interested, all you have to do is go to Microsoft.com/project, and you can look at the 2 SKUs that are available. You can actually sign up for Project Online, just all browser-based. It's $33 a month if you pay annually, and $45 if you just pay month to month. The second type of Project Online environment you can purchase is Project Online and Project Pro as well on your desktop. And I believe that's $58 a month. And the idea there, you get the full suite of Project Online, but it also allows you to download and install Project Pro on your desktop. Per user, using the click-to-run technology.
So it shows how to export the milestones in a project to a Visio.
Milestone in a project to a Visio, what do you mean?
Diagram. Can you export it to Visio?
Can you tell me more about what you're trying to do?
When you work in a project and you're just using the tasks,
Sure.
Some are milestones,
Sure.
Can you export that to Visio?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can, there's a couple ways. For me, the easiest way to do that, I just show it on the timeline view, just literally highlight, copy, and paste it in Visio. You can do it that way. So depending, I can sit down with you and kind of figure out what exactly you're trying to do, but you can certainly do it.
But you can like put it in export it to Visio where you can edit it in Visio and add more elements to it.
Yeah, and then you want the data to come back.
Yeah, right.
Why do you want it in Visio?
So I may want to, for presentation purposes, have different colors or layers or in Visio that I don't necessarily want to put in my
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, absolutely. Yeah, so I'll sit down with you and kind of figure out what exactly you're looking for, but certainly you can do it. What do you guys think? Useful?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. So, and then the other aspect too is, while you may have all this, certainly if you need help or just really get you started quickly, feel free to contact me, and we can certainly support you in that initiative. As an organization, we're working with a couple companies now. Take advantage of Project Online, but really shape the solution to support their needs. Okay.